Hi, I'm Johnny. This is Johnny Likes, the show where I talk about movies that I like. Once upon a time, Michael Crichton wrote a very successful novel, which got turned into a very, very successful movie. You may have heard of it. It was called Jurassic Park. So obviously, for the rest of the 1990s, Hollywood went on a spending spree, buying up everything Crichton, which gave us a ton of stuff. We got Rising Sun, Disclosure, The 13th Warrior, Congo, Twister. I didn't know he wrote that. ER, and the topic of today's video, Sphere.
You tell him, Johnny! You tell the world!
Dustin Hoffman plays a psychologist specializing in trauma who finds himself transported to the middle of nowhere in the South Pacific via the US military. He assumes he's there to help survivors of a plane crash. Once at the site of the crash, Hoffman starts to see some familiar faces. Liev Schreiber is an astrophysicist, Sharon Stone is
A biochemist,
and Samuel L. Jackson is
a mathematician.
They learn that they are not there to help survivors of a plane crash. They are there because Hoffman half-assedly wrote a paper for the government.
I wrote that for the Bush administration, but that was a report about a possible encounter with an alien being.
You want to come with me?
Oh boy.
In the debriefing, they also learn that they are here to investigate an alien craft at the bottom of the ocean.
We think there's an unknown life form on this spacecraft, and that's why you're here.
But wait, there's more. The ship has been there for about 300 years.
288.
So they excitedly head to the bottom of the ocean to investigate. Once there, they manage to enter the craft and quickly discover that this is not an alien ship at all, but an American spacecraft from the future.
It could be 2043 or 1643. I don't know which one is weirder.
That during its journey through space and time has picked up a giant metallic sphere of apparent alien origin. From here on out, sci-fi shenanigans ensue. How cool is that premise? Get out of here, that's awesome. I love space stuff, I love deep sea stuff, and I love alien stuff. This movie seems like a match made in heaven for me. But I also realized that it could very easily be the plot of a ridiculous B-movie. But because the film takes it so seriously and realistically from a scientific point of view, you really forget about how kind of out there the plot is really quick. I also didn't even mention that there's psychokinetic stuff that goes on later in the movie. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this one. I gotta say though, everything seems very possible, however improbable it really is. Because the film takes it so seriously, it doesn't seem like a joke. This is all just actually happening to these people. It also doesn't hurt that it's a big Hollywood movie, big Hollywood stars, big Hollywood director from a big Hollywood author, really. Which results in it looking and feeling very slick and professional. But even if this was a low-budget movie with nobodies in it, I think that it still could have been pretty good and probably would have found a following. The premise is just that strong. Like, if I'm looking at a bunch of movies and I see alien craft, bottom of the ocean, yeah, I'm there. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that this movie easily could have been an over-the-top farce. Kind of like Moonfall, which is actually quite similar in that it has so many ideas just stuffed into it. And Sphere just explores similar wacky plot points, but with more grace and style. The acting was okay in this. Well, actually, I don't have a problem with the acting. The characters were okay in this. All the acting was actually fine for what I think that they wanted. Let me explain. At first, I thought I didn't really like the performances by the actors all that much in this, but then I realized that they were just doing what they were told and working with what was on the page, and I think that's where they ran into problems. All the characters are just a little too exaggerated and kind of one note. Dustin Hoffman's a little too neurotic. Samuel L. Jackson's a little too eccentric. And if it had been just one or two of the actors, I would have just assumed it was bad acting. But when I realized it was all of them, No, that's a writing and directing choice, not an acting thing. Now, Crichton has never been known for his strong characters. He's known as an idea, sci-fi, action, story guy. Really everything but the characters. So the surface level stuff that the characters are given isn't really a surprise. I just think they should have done a better job translating it from book to screenplay to screen and giving them giving the actors a bit more to work with, more than just one or two character traits. So the FX and sets were quite good in this, especially considering it's 1998. Now, I know that there's some CG in here, obviously the sphere itself, I believe. But apart from that, I don't know how much was practical and how much was computer generated. For the most part, it is just seamless and works very well. I remember what CG was like in 1998, and it was not pretty, so to have it be so seamless in this was just, yeah, big thumbs up. The underwater stuff was pretty realistic to me, although my diving experience only goes snorkel deep, but it seemed realistic even if it wasn't, so that's a win. My biggest problem with the movie was the emphasis on the latter half of the story. The crew trying to survive at the bottom of the ocean while disaster and high strangeness is going on. Don't get me wrong, it was pulse racing and interesting, but I found the ideas in the movie to be much more fascinating than the kind of action thriller aspect. I wanted to hear smart characters talk about cool ideas.
Okay. Better. It didn't crash. It arrived.
From where?
Not from where, from when. I mean, what if the craft inadvertently flew into a black hole? That image that you told me you saw on the monitor, from what you described, that sounds exactly like a black hole. A tear in
We know
space.
what a black hole is, Ted.
I don't know what a black hole is.
And although I appreciated the no-nonsense pace of the first 45 minutes, and I guess the rest of the movie, honestly, it's pretty fast-paced. I would have liked a little bit more time for some of the mysteries and ideas to be kind of revealed to the audience. They were all solved by the characters on screen, or they gave information to us about a lot of cool stuff that would have been nice to just gestate with the audience a little bit longer. Here's an example. They could have let us ponder for a little while longer why an alien ship would have like 9 feet of coral on top of it. Instead, it's explained almost instantly. Like, give the audience just a little bit more time to come up with an idea of what this might mean. And sure, Sam Jackson's character is one of the smartest people on the planet, and he's gonna figure stuff out a little bit quicker than the average Joe.
Yeah, well, so you're saying this spacecraft crashed in the year...
1709.
So you're saying this spacecraft crashed 300 years ago?
288.
But give the average Joe a chance here. So all in all, this was a very solid science fiction action thriller. It's basically Contact meets The Abyss, and if that sounds appealing to you, you're probably gonna like at least some of Sphere, if not all of it. It's a fun time, honestly, and I'm gonna rate it at a 4 out of 5. So what do you think of Sphere? What do you think Michael Crichton's most underrated film adaptation is? Let the world know in the comments. Well, let me know anyway, and like maybe a few others. I've seen my view counts. But write it anyway, what's the harm? And after all, it's the easiest way to help me out other than liking and subscribing, which you can do. It's quick, free, and relatively painless. Thanks for watching me talk about movies for a little bit, and you can tune in next time to see what else Johnny likes.